Hello and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Bristol's very own channel 591. You're talking with Adam here. No characters today. I know it's weird. Not Johnny Cash, not John Lennon, none of that. Today we're actually celebrating Chinese New Year, which I'm glad a lot of you are dressed up in red. I know some of it was for the Babylonians, but I still appreciate seeing all the red out there. Anyway, so this one's going to be a little different today. I know we're normally used to a lot of music and a lot of like sing-alongs. This one's going to be very informative. So I've got PowerPoints, tons and tons of facts about China. We're going to learn all there is to know that I can teach you about Chinese New Year, Chinese culture, Chinese food. Got some fun videos, things like that. I think it's going to be a good show. A little bit different this week. I know you came for the music and whatever I dress up as every week, but we're still going to have fun. Trust me, it's going to be good. So to start us off, I'm going to play a little video just on Chinese New Year, so that way we can kind of get into what's going on. And then after that, I'll probably start presenting the PowerPoint that I've made for all of you. So give me a moment to get that set up. As always, running a radio show, takes a little bit of time. One second. Up. And I'm going to take myself off and I'll show you what we got.
Every winter, a sixth of the world's population, including more than 1 billion Chinese citizens, celebrate Chinese New Year. The 15-day festival, also known as Lunar New Year or the Spring Festival, kicks off on the second new moon after the winter solstice, or according to the Gregorian calendar, in use since the 16th century, sometime between January 21st and February 19th. But Chinese New Year goes back a lot further than the 16th century. It's based on the ancient Chinese calendar, which existed as early as the 14th century BC. Even though China adopted the Western calendar in 1912 and began marking January 1st as the official start of the year, Chinese New Year remains the country's most important social and economic holiday. Over the centuries, holiday festivities have spread far beyond China and now take place all over the world. In fact, the biggest celebration outside of China takes place in the United States, San Francisco to be exact. Ever since the gold rush in the 1840s and 50s brought an influx of Chinese immigrant workers to Northern California, the city has held a massive parade for Chinese New Year. According to Chinese tradition, each year is named for one of the 12 animals associated with the Chinese zodiac. Two of those animals, the dragon and the rabbit, are particularly important to Chinese New Year. You'll see dragons everywhere because the Chinese are said to have descended from the mythical creature. And on the 15th day of the new year, known as the Festival of Lanterns, many people displayed paper lanterns in the shape of rabbits. These symbolize a Chinese goddess named Chang'e, who is said to have brought a rabbit along with her when she jumped on the moon. To prepare for Chinese New Year, lots of people clean out their houses to rid them of ghosts and bad luck associated with the old year. They might get a new haircut and clothes, settle disagreements, or pay off debts in order to start the year fresh. In this way, the Chinese New Year customs resemble the Western custom of New Year's resolutions. In the late night hours of Chinese New Year's Eve, many families make dumplings together. This food is said to bring good fortune to the household. Long noodles are also a traditional Chinese New Year's dish. But if you want to live a long life, never cut the noodles while eating them. And be sure to wear red, the color of good luck, and avoid black, which many people associate with death. Whether they are superstitions or resolutions, one thing's for sure, there's a lot of tradition associated with Chinese New Year that we bet you didn't know.
Alright, so I think that's a pretty good introduction to what we're going to be talking about today on Bristol's very own channel 591. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching out there, I'm alone right now and I'm 6 feet apart. We're about 12 feet apart from anybody. I'm in a room by myself, so I don't have to wear a mask. But if you're out there, make sure keep 6 feet apart, mask under your chin, over your nose, and if you're watching alone, you can sit like me, mask free. That's alright. Anyway, let's get into something fun. So I have a PowerPoint set up all about Chinese New Year. Let me pull that up. And there I am in the corner. Here we go. And present. There we go. So, Chinese New Year celebration. So, obviously, we live in America. We're used to our regular New Year celebration. But in China, they do things a little different. So, today is actually Chinese New Year. They go by their lunar calendar, which means that today marks the first day. So, what is it? Chinese New Year, also known as Lunar New Year or Spring Festival, is China's most important festival. It is time for families to be together and a week of official public holiday. Chinese New Year 2021 falls on Friday, today, February 12th, 2021, and beginning a year of the ox. China's public holiday will be February 11th through 17th of 2021. And for every Chinese New Year or every Chinese lunar calendar year, they always have an animal that's associated with it. So this year is the year of the ox. In popular Chinese astrology, Chinese New Year or Spring Festival is important. For Chinese people, years begin at the Chinese Lunar New Year calendar rather than January 1st. I know I said that already. Here's a nice picture. So it depicts just families celebrating and having fun. 2021. It gives you a little picture of an ox and definitely their celebrations. A lot of them wear red. And I'm going to show you later why they wear red and why it's such a big tradition. And here is an official poster from China of the ox. So that's how they chose to display it, but that is the Chinese ox being celebrated this year. So, Chinese New Year dates. The date of the Chinese New Year is determined by their lunar calendar. The holiday falls on the second new moon after the winter solstice on December 21st. Thus, each time the new year in China falls on different dates of the usual Georgian calendar, between January 21st and February 20th. The important dates during this period for this year is, well, today. And then here's just a picture of the calendar, so you can see up in the top right corner, we have the ox of 2021. 2009, we had the ox. 1997, we had the ox. In 1985, but it also shows all the animals. So we have the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. And here's just another little fun photo. They're all cute little animals up there. So why is it called the Spring Festival? Though being in winter, because there's still snow on the ground up here in February, and China is on the same hemisphere as us. Though being in winter for most of China, the Chinese New Year is popularly known as the Spring Festival in China because it starts from the beginning of spring, the first 24 terms in coordination with the changes of nature, and marks the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So I'm really hoping spring's going to start and I stop seeing snow on the ground. It's making it hard for me to get to work, and I know as much as I love winter, I do love being in the warm. And the Spring Festival marks a new year on the lunar calendar and represents the desire for a new life. So Chinese New Year greetings. Now, before I even try and speak in Chinese, I'm going to have a video in a little bit of phrases to say in Chinese and how to greet people. But if I butcher any of these, I apologize to anybody who may be Chinese or of Chinese descent. I'm trying my best here. So one of the most famous traditional greetings for Chinese New Year, the Cantonese Kung He Fat Choi, literally means greetings become rich. And Mandarin, it's Gong Shishi Fat Taisei, which is the same thing. And then I'm going to ignore that part of the slide. So I'm going to pull up a nice video real quick of just how to say traditional Chinese phrases. And let me find that. It's about 3 minutes. And at the very least, you'll at least leave here knowing how to greet anyone if you ever end up in China. I don't know where most of you plan to travel once all of this is over, but China's a beautiful country. A little hard to get into, though. So let me just pull up the next. So this woman's going to teach you how to speak in Mandarin.
Hi, I'm Estella. We're back with more basic words and phrases that you might find useful when trying to communicate with native Mandarin speakers. This time, we've included some polite phrases that will help you to make that good first impression. 请问一下 Please, may I ask? When asking a question of someone that you don't know very well, this is commonly what you put in front of the question in order to be polite. 对不起 Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is used for when you have done something that you need to apologize for, like bumping into someone on the street. 没关系 Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Very often used after someone thanks you or when you are being gracious. 请再说一次 Please repeat that. If you don't catch something the first time, then you can politely ask for someone to repeat it for you. 你会说英文吗? Can you speak English? There might be times when you don't know how to express what you're wanting using your Chinese. So, asking someone if they're able to speak English can save you a lot of trouble and maybe embarrassment. 什么时候? When? If you're unsure when something is happening or you want to clarify what time, then you can use this to get the information that you need. 怎么去那里? How do you get there? This question is used for asking the method that you would use to get to a place, not for asking for directions. 这个中文怎么说? How do you say this in Chinese? There are always opportunities to improve your vocabulary. Being able to ask someone how to say something in Chinese and having the chance to hear the correct pronunciation and in context right away helps with your retention. 便宜一点 cheaper. When you go shopping at the market, it's important to know how to bargain. Getting a lower price is something that everyone can appreciate. 很高兴认识你 I'm pleased to meet you. This phrase is more likely to be used in formal situations when you are meeting someone important or you're wanting to make a good first impression. For casual first meetings, a simple 你好 is usually sufficient. That's all for today's top 10 essential phrases. Level 2
Alright, so I hope you at least learned a little bit of how to speak Chinese. If you're sitting next to somebody, try out a phrase if you'd like. Before that, all I really knew was just ni hao, which was hello. And I say ni hao, Adam, which is hello, Adam. But let's get back to the PowerPoint. So let me pull that back up for you. And so next up, how do Chinese people celebrate Chinese New Year? 1 second. Let me just make sure this is on air. There we go. Alright, now we got the PowerPoint back. How do Chinese people celebrate Chinese New Year? And the main difference, or the main Chinese New Year activities include putting up decorations, eating reunion dinner with family on New Year's Eve, firecrackers and fireworks, and giving red envelopes and other gifts. So first off, we have public celebrations, and here's a little picture of the decorations that they have. And many Chinese cities, from New Year's Day traditional performances can be seen. Dragon dances, lion dances, and imperial performances like an emperor's wedding. A great variety of Chinese products are on offer, and rarely seen Chinese snacks. So they have special snacks that they have for Chinese New Year. City, parks, temples, fairs are all places to go for these. And then I also have a video of some dragon dances out in the street. So if almost like if you were to be in New York City and you see how those performers are out in the streets, this is way more extravagant, but very similar. So let me pull that up as well. I'm not going to play the whole thing just because it's 8 minutes long, but I think it's pretty interesting. Let's get that on air. There we go. And I'm back. So I think that's actually pretty cool. I wish we had more stuff like that when you visit New York City. I think it's actually really awesome how they coordinate the dances, and also that's really tough to do. When you look at it, you're holding somebody else above your head while also standing on poles and stilts and jumping around. So those people who are able to do that are pretty extraordinary. When you look at it, I know I can't do that, and I'd be hard pressed to find someone here who could. But let's get back to the PowerPoint. Got a lot of information and a lot of fun stuff. So I'm pulling it up right now. Nope, that's not my PowerPoint. There we go. And now we're back with the PowerPoint. I have it up on the screen, and don't worry, it gets nicer looking. Ta-da. So that's just some of the dances in the celebration. You can see the guy with inside the dragon with his friend on that one. So Chinese New Year decorations. It's very based in red, so lucky red items. Every street, building, and house where Spring Festival is celebrated is decorated with red. Red is the main color for the festival, as red is believed to be an auspicious color. Red Chinese lanterns hang in the street. Red couplets are pasted on doors. Banks and official buildings are decorated with red New Year pictures depicting images of prosperity. Most public decorations is done a month before, but home decorations is traditionally done on Chinese New Year's Eve. As 2021 will be the year of the ox, decorations related to ox will commonly be seen. Look out for red rat dolls for children, and New Year's paintings of oxes. All right, so Chinese New Year's Eve is always shared with family, so there's family time. Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, is a time for families to be together. Chinese New Year's Eve is the most important time. Wherever they are, people are expected to be home and to celebrate the festival with their families. The Chinese New Year's Eve dinner is called reunion dinner and is believed to be the most important meal of the year. So I know we had some Chinese food for lunch today, and that was pretty good. I had the ribs. I couldn't have the shrimp because I'm allergic, but I thought it was all pretty good, and that's sometimes some of the stuff that they'll share. I'll bring up some later on. I'll show you some of the foods that they actually eat, and we'll even have a whole little segment on Chinese food. Like people waiting in New York Times Square to see the ball drop, Chinese people have a custom of staying up late on Chinese New Year's Eve to welcome the New Year's arrival. After reunion dinner, families normally sit together to watch the Spring Festival Gala, one of the most watched TV shows in China. At the same time, people send WeChat red envelopes or short messages to acquaintances by phone. So it is tradition to actually hand out red envelopes. As you know, technology progresses, you can send emails and things like that. So that's kind of what WeChat is, where you can send a red envelope over text message or email. But the tradition is to actually hand out red envelopes with gifts inside, and I believe I talk about that in a little bit. So here's some of the food that they share at the table, and you can see they're all sharing in this picture. And they got dumplings, shrimp, more dumplings. It's pretty blurry, the picture, so it's hard to see, but you can kind of get the gist. Firecrackers and fireworks at Chinese New Year. So actually, in case you didn't know, gunpowder originated from China, and they are the first people to ever have fireworks. Fireworks originate from China, and they are really masters of the crafts for fireworks. It has long been a Chinese tradition to set off firecrackers from the first minute of the new year. Fireworks have increasingly been added to the cacophony. From public displays in major cities to millions of private celebrations in China's rural areas, setting off fireworks is an indispensable festivity. Billions, with a B, billions of fireworks go up in China at 12 a.m. Chinese New Year, the most anywhere at any time of the year. So China has the most fireworks, even more than us. And I know we go pretty hard for our New Year, but very similar to how we celebrate our New Year, they set off a lot of fireworks. Let me see if I can pull up a video of just some of that going on, because some of them are beautiful displays. Sorry, I just gotta find one. Yeah, so here I have one. I'm about to share it up on the screen, and you're gonna see what I mean. These are very well coordinated, and this isn't the most official one, but I think it's one of the more beautiful ones. So give me 1 second. And this is part of Chinese culture. So just like on New Year's Day, or not New, we don't set off. Sorry, 4th of July is when we set off fireworks. I don't know what I've been thinking. But just like we set off fireworks on 4th of July, Independence Day, this is how they do it. And then there's this one, and I'm just going to share another one with you. But I think the whole display is very beautiful. Give me 1 second for that. And share this one with you guys too. And All right, so that was pretty good. So that's just really how they celebrate, just like we do on 4th of July. They go extravagant. And the second video that I showed you is more like what they broadcast there is almost like what we broadcast in Times Square on New Year's or anything like that. So let's get back to the PowerPoint slide. Sorry if I keep interrupting. I just figure the videos are, I can talk about it all I'd like, but it's very great to see something visual because then you really understand what's going on. So let's get my PowerPoint back on air. There I am in the corner. And so 12 billions of fireworks at 12 a.m. Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year, gifts and red envelopes. So why do they hand out the red envelopes? Like at Christmas, in other countries, people exchange gifts during the Spring Festival. In rural areas and for older people, the New Year's gift-giving tradition is still strongly, but increasingly younger people prefer to just receive red envelopes, hand or electronically. The most common New Year's gifts are red envelopes. Red envelopes have money in them and are believed to bring good luck because they are red. They are given to children and retirees. So if you guys were Chinese, you'd be getting some too. Customarily, only employers give red envelopes to working adults. And then here's the New Year's celebration. Here's a good informational picture. So we start out with cleaning the house, New Year's shopping, then that's the first day, to clean out the house, then putting up spring couplets, day 2 to 7. Day 8 is enjoying the reunion dinner. Oh, sorry, this is before. So before you clean the house, you do your New Year's shopping, you put up all the decorations. And then right before or the night of, you enjoy your reunion dinner. You give out red lucky envelopes to kids or retirees. You stay up late till 12. I know some of you like to knock out early. And then on Chinese New Year Day, you set off the firecrackers and fireworks, which I showed you. You offer sacrifices to your ancestors. The second day to seventh day, you visit relatives and friends. Day 8, most people go back to work. And day 15, the Lantern Festival. Lighting and watching lanterns, eating sweet dumplings, and more fireworks. Because who doesn't love fireworks? And sweet dumplings. Making me hungry. Sorry, 1 second. So what do they eat for Chinese New Year's Eve? Food with lucky meanings. The food for the New Year emphasizes lucky symbolic meanings such as fish, which sounds like Chinese word for surplus. These foods are eaten during the 16-day festival season and particularly for the New Year's Eve family reunion dinner. The luckiest Chinese food, New Year's food, are fish, which means an increase in prosperity, which we all love. Chinese dumplings, which signify great wealth, and gluttonous rice cakes, which are higher income or position. So if you want to get a raise or if you want to move up in your job, you eat some rice cakes. And here's just a picture of the traditional fish that they would eat. And as you can see, they got chopsticks because that's all they really eat with. And then Chinese New Year superstitions, things you mustn't do. Or do. Things you must or mustn't do, sorry. In China, people are becoming less superstitious, but Chinese people traditionally believe that the year's start off affects the whole year. So the Chinese Spring Festival is a season of superstitions. It's believed that what something looks like, color and shape, and what its name sounds like gives auspicious or ill-fated properties. The luckiest things you can do at Chinese New Year is giving money/gifts and lucky numbers and lucky red packaging with lucky greetings. Eating lucky food like fish on New Year's Eve, especially carp or catfish, with some leftovers for New Year's Day, and lighting lots of red fireworks and firecrackers to scare away evil and bring good luck. And here's just everybody wearing red, which is lucky, and exchanging the red gifts. And then unlucky things to do at Chinese New Year. Having an accident, especially if it means hospital visits, crying, and breakage. All bad omens. So they believe that the things that happen this first week of Chinese New Year, especially the first day, is going to affect your entire year. So if you end up in the hospital, you're going to have a horrible year. Giving gifts with unlucky meanings, colors, words, or numbers, or even saying something inauspicious. And then sweeping on New Year's Day, because don't sweep your luck away. So before New Year's Day, you sweep the house, you get it super clean, because you want to sweep out all the demons and the bad omens and all the bad luck. But on New Year's Day, when everything rejuvenates and becomes lucky again, you don't sweep. So you got a day off from cleaning, because you don't want to take away your good luck. I think that's it. So now I'm going to pull up a video on just how Chinese New Year actually started. So this is going to be a nice, it's a little bit of a kiddie video, but still it's very informative, and it kind of shows the tradition and where it all started, why they wear red, and why there's dragons and other things like that. So give me a second to pull that one up. And 1 second. There we go. This nice little. And she's going to explain everything to you.
快乐! Happy New Year! Join us as we explore Lunar New Year, a holiday that dates back thousands of years. Today we'll travel to China to explore the rich traditions that have been passed down from generations to celebrate the holiday. Another year of good fortune is beginning in China. Fireworks pop high in the sky, dragons dance in the streets, and the city slows down to celebrate Lunar New Year. In Chinese culture, it's the most important time of the year, rooted in traditions and customs passed down through the ages. The celebration lasts for 15 magical days full of family togetherness, delicious food, and good fortune. Today, Lunar New Year is filled with happiness. But according to legend, it didn't start out that way. A long, long time ago in China, there was a big, scary, nasty beast named Nian, whose name means year. He had razor-sharp teeth, giant claws, and a really mean growl. Most of the time he lived in the wilderness, but on the darkest night of the year, when the new moon was in the sky, he would sneak into the village and scare everyone in sight, even the animals. People dreaded the new moon for many, many years, until a wise man taught them the 3 things Nian was afraid of: loud noises, fire, and the color red. The next time Nian came, the villagers fought back. They hit their drums as loud as they could, lit every firecracker they had, and wore the color red from head to toe. Nian ran far away and never came back. After that, the people started celebrating the new moon instead of fearing it. That celebration became a 15-day festival of family, food, and good fortune called Lunar New Year. Every Lunar New Year is always represented by one of 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac, chosen by the Jade Emperor of China centuries and centuries ago. According to legend, a long time ago in China, the Jade Emperor held a great race. The first 12 animals to reach his palace would be the winners, and they would each get a year named after them in their honor. During the race, the ox was winning until he had to cross a rushing river. The rat was right behind him and couldn't swim very well. So the kind ox let the rat ride on his back. As soon as they got to the other side, the rat jumped off and scurried to the finish line to win the race first. That's why the first year in the Chinese zodiac calendar is the year of the rat. 11 other animals reached the palace to create the 12-year cycle of the Chinese zodiac. It's said that the animal your birth year is named after can shape your personality and destiny. You might be honest like a dragon or smart like a monkey. When your animal takes its turn in the zodiac cycle, legend has it that your year will be full of surprises. But no matter which animal you are, everyone is excited to honor these ancient traditions, even in modern New Year celebrations. Today, Lunar New Year brings families together all over the world. In fact, billions of people travel back to their homes and families in China to feast on a delicious reunion dinner with plates and plates of homemade food. Many of the foods like egg rolls, noodles, and shrimp mean something special. Egg rolls symbolize wealth for the coming year because they look like bars of solid gold. Chow mein noodles shouldn't be cut because long noodles symbolize health for a long life. Shrimp symbolizes happiness because the Mandarin words for shrimp and smile sound very similar. As part of the festivities, lucky red envelopes called hongbao are passed out to children as well as unmarried adults. In Chinese culture, the color red symbolizes luck. In order to receive the red envelopes, well wishes are given to the elders. Thank you, Grandpa. Money is inside each envelope to bring prosperity and good fortune in the coming year. During all 15 days of Lunar New Year, it is a time to reflect on the passing year and celebrate the future. Bright fireworks light up the sky, and huge parades line the streets until the final day of the New Year celebration, the Lantern Festival, when thousands of red lanterns glow in the night to bring good fortune to all. No matter where you live, you can join the festivities, whether it's one reunion dinner with your family or 15 days of celebrating togetherness. Lunar New Year is open to everyone. We invite you to learn more and join the celebration at Panda Express.
All right, so that was kind of, I bet you did a way better job of explaining Chinese New Year than I did. But I think that's pretty informative, and it kind of tells you the history of the tradition, why they wear red, because it's lucky, and the meaning of firecrackers, and as well as the animals of the calendar year. So that's been that. So that's what I have to present on Chinese New Year. Of course, this entire show is going to be about the culture and livelihood of China. So next up, what I have is actually Chinese food. I know you guys had some today. Thank you, Mike, for providing that. But I'm going to tell you all about Chinese food, do's and don'ts, little things like that, and what they like to eat and drink and all that fun stuff in China. So give me a second to pull that up, and then I'll be able to share it with all of you. And then I have eating and drinking in China and 15 interesting facts. Maybe not tell you all 15, but we'll get you some of them. So let's make sure this is up on the air. And you can see what I'm seeing now. So eating and drinking in China. Eating and drinking in China can be a mind-broadening and enjoyable cultural experience. Mind-broadening, sorry. However, there are likely to be many surprises along the way. So let's just see some of the eating practice. Sit-down buffet. Share the same dishes. In China, eating is more of a communal activity. In contrast to the West, where everyone orders their own meal, which arrives at on a plate and is eaten individually, food is generally ordered dish by dish in China to be shared at all and presented at the table. Each dinner has their own small rice bowl. Each person eating has their own small rice bowl into which food from plates and bowls in the center of the table is used and placed using chopsticks. So actually, a funny story from me is that I have, as many of you may or may not know, I attend school at Hofstra University, and I study IT and cybersecurity there. Right now I'm taking this semester off just because of the fact that COVID's going on, and I'm not a big fan of online classes, so I'm hanging out with you guys. But I have a lot of friends there, and one of my friends is a foreign exchange student from China, and he's a very great guy. Talk to him all the time, but I remember that we were getting Chinese food once, or we were planning on it, and he rents a house off campus, And he was telling us like how in China they share their food. So of course we said, why don't we try that? And so we ended up ordering Panda Express, getting noodles and a few other foods. And how he set it up where he had big bowls in the middle and chopsticks, and we all had small bowls, and we would all take from the big bowl, put it into our own. But it was very different, because in China, it's not like, you know, Mike hands you your food and the waiter hands you, like everyone gets a separate dish. Everybody shares. The whole thing is about a sharing communal experience with your food. Might not be the best for sanitation, but I honestly really liked how together everything was with that. So that's just my own experience. But moving on. Host places food in your bowl hospitality. Be prepared for your Chinese host placing food in your own. Yeah, my friend did that too. He placed food in my bowl to begin with, and then he just told me, you know, take what you want. But usually, without even asking, the host will often put chicken legs or other choice parts of the meal in the guest bowl. Though Westerners may see this as interfering with one's independence and personal space, it is a sign of hospitality in China. So if somebody puts food in your bowl, they're being very nice to you. Touching the tables is okay. Now I know I keep my elbows on this table, but I know Western culture, you can't really touch the tables. So sometimes it's considered rude to put one's elbows, like I'm doing right now, on the table, on the dining table. But it is quite acceptable in China, particularly when eating noodles. However, you may want to avoid this in some restaurants where the tables are only wiped with an old cloth. So just be careful. You don't want to get your elbows dirty. Another part that you may or may not know is chopsticks. No knives or forks. So there's a lot of debated reasons as to why people use chopsticks in China, but the main thing is they don't use knives, they don't use forks. It's 2 sticks. I'm pretty good with chopsticks. I don't know if all of you know how to use them, but they really only eat with that. And so because of that, their food really reflects it, where most of their food is always cut up into small portions, if you ever notice for Chinese food, or their rice is very clumpy because it makes it easier to eat with chopsticks. Because you're only supposed to pick up a bite-sized portion. So it is common in China for everyone to use their own chopsticks for fetching food from the dishes in the center. If you would prefer for hygiene reasons, serving spoons and serving chopsticks can be provided for the food in the center table. Don't be embarrassed by using chopsticks poorly or not using them at all. The main thing is that you enjoy the food. So, spitting out bones on a side plate. In China, it is also common practice to spit out on the table or the floor. In more upper market restaurants, people usually refrain and use one of the methods below rather than spitting. Often food has small pieces of bone or other inedible parts that need to be removed from the mouth. Using chopsticks, a hand, tissue, or a tissue is a polite way around the problem. You may want to ask for a side plate or an extra bowl for bones. Be warned if seeing piles of things that came out of someone's mouth may put you off your food. You may want to order dishes with no bones. So if I was eating, I would literally spit out the bone right in that little bowl. I know that's weird for us, but for them it's normal, and that's how they go about their days. Restaurants, noise and smoking. Be warned that in some popular local restaurants, especially in the evenings, the noise of uninhibited chatter and drinking games can become very loud. Smoking is also permitted in most Chinese restaurants. A way around this in a large restaurant is to request a side room for your meal, which will have its own door to insulate you from the noise and the smoke. So smoking, I know years ago, smoking was okay in restaurants, and then they changed that. But in China, it's still going on. You can light up right at the table. And dessert. I love dessert. I don't like this one. Dessert is not common in Chinese eating. I know what you're thinking. Why not have ice cream? Why not have cake? But eating something sweet for dessert is not a Chinese custom. Sweet things can be found hidden among everything else on a Chinese menu. Fruit salad and caramel-covered apples or other fruit. Chinese sweet dishes are very popular with Westerners. So the thing about it is that they don't really have dessert. They kind of mix it into everything. So instead of waiting to eat your caramel apple, it's kind of just served with the main course. Ooh, and now we have drinking in China. Refrigerated soft drinks are widely available, but beware ice cubes made from tap water, as most tap water in China is unpotable and should be at least boiled before drinking. I know China actually has a very big issue with clean drinking water, so if you're in China, ask for no ice. Beer, or pijoy, is very popular in China, but it's very similar, about 3 to 5%, but it's all very similar to beer. It's about 3 to 5% alcohol, with none of the stronger or darker varieties being brewed in the West. 1 second. Oh, and the other popular alcoholic drink in China is rice wine. Beware though, because it can be 40% plus in alcohol. So I'm below 21. I did have a sip of rice wine once, and I thought it was actually very good. It's very interesting how they make it, and there's a lot of different traditions on how to go about making rice wine. But in terms of it, I think if you ever get a chance to, definitely try it. In China, drinking alcohol is still mainly a male custom. Male guests are routinely offered alcohol and cigarettes at meal times, usually not breakfast. Just politely refuse it if you don't want them. An empty glass is always refilled, no matter about protests that the guest has had enough, as a mark of politeness or goodwill. Often a refusal has been given 3 times. Maybe if you've had enough of a good thing, you might want to leave your glass full if you're done. Alright, so moving on. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I actually have 15 interesting things about Chinese food. So I'm going to share that one up with you next. So 15 interesting things on Chinese food you probably won't know. That's the name of it. And give me just 1 second. Or you know what? How about I pull up a video first, just to kind of break things apart. I have instead, and then we'll do this, people eating Chinese food. Or, let me see. Sorry, I got a lot of videos saved up for you guys. So, here. Chinese people try Panda Express for the first time. So here's the thing about Panda Express. It's not very authentic Chinese food. It's more of an Americanized fast food version. So to people from China, it might be a little different. And we might eat Panda Express, which is a fast food Chinese, very famous fast food Chinese chain. And we might think, oh wow, this is great authentic Chinese food. But to these Chinese people, they're not buying it. So let me share that with you guys. Alright, pulling it up, and I'm taking myself down.
Panda Express to me is like white people's Chinese food.
可能中國餐差唔多，我諗係嘛？
我覺得
Also, just as an aside, they can be a little rude about it. Don't take offense. I'm sorry if you feel insulted.
唔係啦。
This is so gross.
Wow, this smells like a candle.
中國人比較親見啊。
好，謝謝。
有味啊。
皮也不脆，然后里面的馅也包得不好。
It's like soggy on the inside.
不是就是味道差不多的东西吗？
比這個好吃啊，會呢個幾好味。
If you actually know like real Chinese chow mein, you'd be like, this is like American China chow mein.
中國炒麵嚟講咧，
Ooh, it smells like stinky feet.
還可以，味道好。
It actually tastes pretty, like, authentic.
I didn't say that bad.
Wow, you never had authentic Chinese
Yeah,
food
this
before.
is like judged.
I'd rather eat this than egg roll, put it that way.
Low standards.
That's how I end up with her.
He puts down Panda Express, but he eats McDonald's all the time. Like, I don't understand.
你會唔會再試下次再唔再食㗎？
食呢個
呢個我哋經常食咧。
Melanie likes it. You want mine?
Good job.
Good job, says my
Good job. Good
grandma.
job. 就識得的。
香，
不香。
我覺得香。
If you blindfold me, I'm eating plain rice.
It kind of tastes like cardboard.
唔係想嗰啲嘅，都唔是我，啲豉油味，啲醬油
你还会再吃吗？
不。
酸辣汤。
It smells like putrid.
Wow.
有酸辣汤那个味道出来，这个不错。
It's really sour. Yeah, I do not like that. Nope. No. 就是很像真正的。
对，
对，味道很像。
酸辣汤就是这样。
This reminds me of taking shots, like the bad aftertaste.
呢個唔中意食啊。
They don't like it.
This is my dad's favorite. Like, if he were here, he would hate those.
Oh, it smells good.
Actually,
it smells
okay.
good. Yeah.
Really? I feel like it smells weird.
I like this. Oh, it's really salty.
佢好味，
佢個味呢
味
度
佢好。
像不像真正的宫保鸡？
不像。
One chicken is not real Chinese food. My mom calls it like the food that fools Americans.
喺美國咧，呢個係最
真嘅啊！
Oh no no no! I know what this is. Burnt soy sauce.
Not sure what that is, you know?
这比较適合他們。
好香口，但係又太甜酸噶嘛，食嚟好好。
帶鹽酸係咪？
呢個幾好嘅。
只要就係香口咧，
This chicken is sad.
味道很好。
He had to finish all his orange chicken. He says it's so good.
Good job。
I can't imagine anyone thinking that panda is actually Chinese food.
我話呢個幾好味，適合中國人食嘅嘢咁。
適合中國人食。
就是美國式的中餐嘛，你不能要求它要像我們傳統的中餐一樣。
But you know what my dad used to always say is that you can't, you know, leave one grain of rice on the plate.
Oh, yeah.
That's what my
Alright, so they were a little mean about Panda Express. I don't know if any of you out there have ever had it, but I have it. I've had it, and I think it's pretty good. But at the same time, little experiment of having Chinese people eat Chinese food may have been kind of similar to having like a burger connoisseur or Guy Fieri or someone like that eat McDonald's. Like it's just entertaining to watch in some retrospect. So let me get up the 15 interesting facts about Chinese food, and then afterwards, I believe I have 11 cool Chinese history facts and some famous Chinese people, and after that, we'll be doing some Tai Chi. So that's the, well, that I'll explain later. Let me get up what I got now. I thank you all also for tuning in and watching Bristol's very own Channel 591. Hope you're all enjoying so far, learning about China. I know this one's different, a little more informative, but as of right now, I'm learning a lot too with you guys. I went over most of this stuff, but you know, it's good always to watch. So give me 1 second to pull back up what I had going on. Sorry, 15 inches. And there we go. Should be up. So we have 15 interesting facts on Chinese food you probably won't know. So let me pull that one up. So Chinese food is the most popular food in the world but authentic Chinese food has many differences with Western food. Here are 15 facts to educate and shock you. So just by population, China actually, I believe, has one of the biggest populations per country. So by technicality, their food is one of the most popular foods in the world. And let me just look up China's population. Yeah, 1.39 billion. So about 1.4 billion people in China. And the world population is 7.7 billion. So they really, there's a lot of Chinese people out there. About 1.6 or 1.7. But let me get back to where we were. So the world's biggest variety of flavors is not all the same. Did you know that Chinese food has 5 key flavors that must be balanced according to traditional Chinese medicine? Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and spicy. Flavors vary considerably across China. For example, Szechuan Chinese cuisine is famous for numbing spices. Hong Kong cuisine is sweet or savory, and Northern cuisine is salty. And Southern minority cuisine is sour. So the other thing about China is that China is actually a very massive continent, and there's a lot of people and a lot of different regions. So just like we're kind of separated in America, we have down south, out east, out west. It's kind of different. Like barbecue up north is very different than barbecue down south. So there is still even variations in China's own food. It's not just one big conglomerate. So China's north/south, wheat/rice food divided. The colder, drier north favors wheat production. So northerners eat dumplings, wheat noodles, steamed buns, and stuffed buns mostly. In the south, Chinese eat bowls of rice or rice noodles with almost every meal, as well as a far greater variety of fruits and vegetables, and only occasionally eat wheat. Because down south, it's a lot easier for them to grow more fruits, and how rice paddies are, they favor warmer climates. So Chinese, as you may know, the rumors about cats and dogs are true. They do eat them there, and though not everybody does, it is in some Chinese tradition. Chinese eat almost everything that moves. If it moves and it's got protein, you can eat it. Foreigners are often shocked at what Chinese eat. Many Chinese dishes make foreigners feel weird or squeamish, like dog hot pot, insects, scorpions, snakes, rats, pig ears, heads, feet. Oh, sorry, but this is all pigs. So don't, or the next thing. So it's pig ears, pig head, pig feet, pig heart, pig lung, liver, kidneys, intestines, and boiled blood. That is actually my friend who I talked about earlier from Chinese foreign exchange student. He actually often tried to find boiled blood soup. That was something that he liked to eat, and though I'm never had to watch him eat it, I always thought it was very interesting. So 4 is huge quantities of vegetables. So Chinese eat far more fruits and vegetables than in the West, about twice as much dietary fiber, resulting in, I'm not going to read the rest of that. They got bigger bowel movements. So crazy vegetable variety. Crazy variety is not limited to China's meats. Many of China's vegetables and fruits you won't have seen or heard of before, like pomelos, bitter cucumbers, yard-long yams, tree fungi, and dozens of untranslatable weed-like plants. So they definitely got a lot of other stuff going on. Let me see if I can look up some of these and share pictures. 1 second. I'll see if I can share some of their interesting fruits with you guys. Alright, so you're seeing me. So right now you see everything that I see on my screen. Sorry if that's a little trippy, but I'm just going to pull up some of the stuff I'm looking up. So like pomelos, which is this fruit. Pomelo is a citrus fruit, is the largest citrus fruit in the family. That doesn't really give me too much, but I'll just pull up a picture of it. So here they are. So they look almost like grapefruit if we're looking at it. And then we'll go back and see what else they talked about. So bitter cucumber. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Looks almost like a regular cucumber. I'm more interested. Oh, that one's looking interesting. He's a little funky looking. I don't know if I choose him at a supermarket. But then again, it's always good to respect all cultures. Just because it's weird to us, it's definitely not weird to them, and it's kind of their livelihood. And a lot of the stuff we do is probably super weird to them. So, yard-long yams. I guess they're just long. I was hoping to see some that were yard long, but that's okay. So there's some pictures of that, and then let me see if I can find anything else. Tree fungi. And the untranslatable weed-like plants we don't have to look at, but let me just see what I can find here. Tree fungi. Chinese food. Okay. That actually looks interesting. So I'm sure it's very similar to like eating mushrooms, is what I would assume from them. But that looks very interesting. Black fungus. And yeah. Alright, so I'm going to get back to the facts. I'll stop sharing my screen. But here I am again. Thanks for tuning in to Bristol's channel's very own 591. And I'll get back to sharing the interesting Chinese food facts. It must be fresh in China. Canned/frozen food spurned. Wet markets where live, fresh butchered animals and freshly picked foods are sold abound in China. Almost one per city block. Many Chinese go every day. Fridge freezers are catching on, but fresh vegetables is still a must. Tins are despised. So there's no saving food. There's no canned goods. Everything must be fresh. Also, according to Chinese medicine, food must be eaten in season to combat too much yin, cold weather, and yang, hot weather, dryness or dampness. Example, huge white radishes with high yang are very popular in the winter. So I guess right now we'd be eating radishes. We already learned this one. Chinese eat bones and spit them out. And I talked about this. Everything... Oh, I didn't put up the screen. I apologize. So I've just been talking with nothing behind me. So everything in China must be canned food or frozen. Can't be frozen. So that's how they only eat their food. They really prefer to keep things fresh. And to be honest, that's probably a healthier way to live. I know it makes things very convenient to be able to store everything, but having fruit fresh is definitely a different experience. So then next up is Chinese eat bones or spit out bones like splinters that we already talked about, and everything's bite-sized because of the fact that they use chopsticks. So China uses 45 billion pairs of chopsticks a year. That's a lot. That's a lot of sticks to go through. 2 to 3, that's an unremarkable average of 2 to 3 pairs a month, but it's approaching 1.4 billion population. The government has imposed a disposable chopstick tax to reduce usage. So they're trying to make sure that people use reusable ones, just, regular ones that you can wash. In my house, I have actually metal chopsticks that, toss in the dishwasher and pull out just like your spoons. The same thing can be cooked a dozen ways. Like Bubbles Shrimp and Forrest Gump, there are many ways to cook Chinese food. For example, fish can be steamed, boiled, stewed, quick fried, stir fried, deep fried, roasted, sauteed, marinated in brine, pickled in vinegar, soy sauce, or sweet and sour sauce. So there's a lot of way to cook a fish. So when you say, what are we having for dinner? You could eat fish the entire week, but just have it different ways every time. Food decorations converge on the ridiculous. Chinese chefs, particularly Jiangsu cuisine experts, go overboard in the presentation. They believe the first bite is with the eyes. Dishes are served in precise patterns or lifelike shapes, brightened by intricate vegetable carvings and decorative herbs. And there you can see that's how they serve their food. Honestly, that would probably be so beautiful, I wouldn't even want to touch it. Dishes' names can be misleading. Chinese like to give dishes catchy names. Some names have nothing to do with their ingredients. For example, husband-wife lung slices. If you told me that I was being served that, I think I would leave the restaurant. It's not cannibalism. Husband-wife lung slices is not cannibalism, but thinly sliced bovine lung, tongue, or some other cut seasoned with chili oil. Ants climb trees, another dish, is vermicelli with spicy minced pork, and fried chicken is a frog. So if you're having fried chicken, it's not like KFC, it's actually a frog. A tour guide or translator will help you avoid surprises if you ever go there. And food is superstitiously symbolic. So I know we have some symbolic foods in America, but in China, it's a little different. Chinese attach particular meanings to certain foods based on shapes, pronunciations, and legends. Like when they were saying that the word for shrimp, I think correlated with the word for lucky, which is why they eat that. For example, ingot-shaped dumplings mean wealth at New Year, and around moon cakes represent family reunion at mid-autumn. And dishes are shared lazy Sue style. So we already talked about that you have all the dishes in the middle. And the guest is seated at the table's head. The honored guest is customarily seated furthest from the door with the fish, chicken, duck heads pointing this way. So if you were to be invited to a Chinese dinner, they would quite literally have everything facing towards you, and you would be at the head of the table. First dibs for you. So that's what I have on Chinese food. I actually found something else that Angelina wanted to share with you guys, but sadly she's not here today. She's doing fine, don't worry. But it was actually an interactive 360-degree tour of China. So here I have Hong Kong for one, and then I have Fang Huang as another. So I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to share it with you guys because I think this will actually be pretty cool. It's going to give us a 3D panorama-like view of what it's like to be in China. So let me pull that up. We'll start out with Hong Kong. I think that one's pretty cool. And I'm just going to get that on the air. So there we go. And let's take a look. So is Hong Kong at sunset. Give it a second to load. I know it's a little blurry right now. We can zoom in and zoom out. But this is a 360-degree panorama. So if we zoom in, now you can see the city looks a little better. we can kind of just look around the city. Watch as it loads. And you can see all the beautiful buildings. And I think this is my favorite part of it, is the mountains. So imagine if you were to visit New York City. This is Hong Kong at sunset. But here's, you see all the ships out in the harbor. And just behind it are these beautiful mountains sitting, and you get to see all of them. And to me, that would be magical and wonderful. Though I'm sure these buildings right here can be a little dark at times. Still, it's a magnificent thing. So we got Hong Kong from above. This is a bird's eye view. And it's going to slowly drop us in. And if you ever want to see any more of these air panos, let me know, because I can definitely pull some up. I think Angelina will have some activities later for us. But we're dropping right in. It's beautiful. So it's a little interesting. I know it looks like we're looking almost like from a fisheye. Now we have urban jungle. So this is Hong Kong. Give it a second. I know it's a little blurry. It's gonna unblur itself. There you go. So now you can see all the pretty buildings. So this is their architecture. And it's not actually too far off from what you'd see in New York City. But this is China. I really like how it's very integrated into the mountains. That to me is beautiful. So you could live in the city and go for a hike later. But that's what we're seeing. Alright, and Hong Kong from an altitude of 700 meters. Give it a second to load itself up. It's a little blurry right now, and then we'll get to see it. Yeah, there we go. Now it loads in a little more. But you can see it's very vast and massive. It's one of the biggest cities in China. China is huge. China is also a very mountainous country. Here we go, coming up in the mountains again. It's just all very beautiful. I'd love to travel here, and if anyone has, please let me know. So I think that's what we get to see on Hong Kong. And I'm gonna pull up next is another one of these that I think you might like to see. So give me a second to share that as well. And this is Feng Huang. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I butchered anything. I really hope to not offend anybody, but I'm doing my best here. So this is a more traditional Chinese city. And you can if we stop here, you can almost, it's hard to see, but you can see they have more of their traditional buildings. Like look at the bridges and the architecture, all the house slope upwards. So actually, the reason that a lot of, I know it's hard to see here, but the reason that in a lot of Chinese architecture, you'll notice that the roofs slope upwards is because they believe that if a demon or unluckiness were to fall from the sky as demons come down, they hit your roof and they slope off and shoot back up to the sky, and they can't touch you. So that's why Chinese roofs actually curve up a little bit, traditionally, as superstition would proceed. But just look at that. Imagine living in a beautiful village, and then you just get all of this nature surrounding you. The architecture here is very beautiful. You can see that they took a lot of care to integrate it into the mountains and as well as just nature. So you get to really be immersed in the nature here. But you can see there's mountains and tons of cities and houses, and it's all just very beautiful and a beautiful river. So next we'll go up to Rainbow Bridge. This is an aeroplano. I think that's the name of what this is, but give it a second to load up. I know it's blurry right now. It just takes a little bit. It's a lot of pictures that it's got to pull together. So there you go. But this bridge is actually very beautiful. I don't want to go too fast, but you can even see that over here, the houses are held up by stilts. I don't know how safe I'd feel on that, but it is still very beautiful. You take a look. I would love to visit something like this. Yeah, and then you get the rest of the river. And you get to see all the houses on the river and people hanging out over there. They got the traditional boats. Very serene and beautiful. And then I'm going to give you the same bridge at night, and then we'll have a bird's eye view straight from above. We'll give it a second. So there you can see, here's the bridge and the people, and this is how they look at night. Very well lit up, very pretty. You can even see at the top of the bridge, it looks like they got some type of club going up in there, as you can see the blue lights. But the entire thing just looks beautiful lit up at night. It's hitting the sun. All these houses have beautiful lights underneath them, and you can see their reflection on the water. I would love to be part of this somehow. You see these people hanging out. I don't know if they know that that someone took a big picture of them, but this is still pretty cool. So that's that. There's the bridge, and then last we're gonna get just straight from above, as if we're a bird looking down. So give it a second. It's gonna load up. Oh my lord, I haven't been sharing anything. You've just been staring at me talking. That's sad. Alright, well now it's sharing. I'll go back and share everything else. I feel really bad about that. I apologize. So here's the bird's eye view. There's the bird's eye view of everything. Of the entire village. Very beautiful. As you can see, it's very well integrated with nature. Above the mountains. Again, I apologize. I didn't realize that I wasn't sharing the screen with you guys. But here's Rainbow Bridge. Here's the original one. So as you can see here, here's it on the water. Very traditional. You can see that the houses are held up by stilts. It looks like you got this cool guy in a boat. And just kind of the rest of it, but it all does look very beautiful. I would love to like be somewhere like this where, you know, you get to experience nature as it is. Because that's one big thing on Chinese architecture is integrating what you are with the nature and surroundings. So you really, in China, at least for their architecture, they really don't like interrupting the nature. And they like to integrate it into their life. They feel as though, I believe it has to do with feng shui, that you can't expel nature. You need to find a way to integrate it into your cities and towns. So, as you can see, they kind of live in the valleys of the mountains, but you can still go for a hike whenever you'd like. And here's just, you know, here's this beautiful place. You can see they got construction going on. But still, the entire place is surrounded by mountains as far as the eye can see. Very beautiful. This is the lake that we were looking at earlier. That's Rainbow Mountain. Or, sorry, Rainbow Bridge. And there it is right there. It's just a famous bridge for them. And a beautiful lake and all these mountains flying through. Then we have it at night, which I think is breathtaking. You see all... See, we have it here lit up. See everything going on inside. And take a look at the whole thing. Got the houses on stilts. Everything's reflecting off the water. You can see the beautiful mountains in the background. I love all of it. I would love to travel here. And we got bird's eye view. So that's that. I thought it might be interesting to share with you guys what it looks like and some of like China's actual, geography and how their cities look and things like that. And that's a pretty great way just to take a look. I know we have ones of New York, but New York isn't what's up right now. So next up, I believe I have 11 cool Chinese facts. So let me see if I can pull some of that up for you. Just give me 1 second. So 11 cool Chinese facts, and now that's being shared on the air. Now you can see it, and thank you again for staying tuned on Bristol's very own channel 591. I hope you're all enjoying right now, and I'm planning to end this before around 3:50, maybe 3:30, 3:45. We'll see how much content I have left. But the very important thing is that at 4 o'clock there's bingo for those of you who are interested, and I will be holding it if you want to show up and hang out with me. It's a $2 game today, and I hope you guys at least enjoy that. So let me get to the 11 cool history facts. First off, toilet paper is a Chinese invention. I know you can't think of what to do without toilet paper, and I know if you ever run out of any, you're calling a friend or you're screaming for help. But toilet paper originated in China. Contrary to what many people think, toilet paper was invented in China in 1391. The Romans are known for using various objects, leaves, moss, their hands, etc., as toilet paper prior to the 14th century, but they had not invented a paper-like item for this particular use. Luckily, the invention of the was incredibly popular in China. By the late 14th century, it took off. Approximately 10 million packages of toilet paper were being manufactured each year, each containing about 1,000 to 10,000 sheets each. Emperors would often order this paper in 2 by 3 foot sheets for maximum cleanliness. Hi, Tom. What's up, buddy?
I need the boss on the air.
That's fine. I'm live on the air right now. So just say hi to everybody. Bye, Tom.
Hi, everybody.
It's all good. All right. So Chinese natives call their country the Middle Kingdom. The first use of the modern word China was in 1555. The original name for China is a topic of disagreement among scholars. Some people think that the word came out of Qin, China's unifying dynasty, pronounced Qin, and others think that it came from the Persian word Xin, which was spread by Marco Polo. Chinese citizens thought the carp resembled a dragon. The carp is a symbol of strength and perseverance in China. If you've ever tried to catch a carp, you'll know that they don't give up easily, and they don't go down without a fight. So, strength and perseverance. The scales and whiskers of the fish make it resemble a dragon, the great symbol of power in China. Now it finally makes sense why this is a famous game. Chopsticks are a 3,000-year-old invention. So here you have some pictures of chopsticks and what they look like. And the oldest surviving pair of chopsticks dates back to 12,000 BCE, the Qing dynasty. But evidence suggests that they were used in the Zhou dynasty in 2070 to 1600 BCE. So that's before, only BC is before Christ, but as Chinese population grew over time, people had, so BCE is before, like 2,000 years before 2000. If that makes sense. So the current Chinese flag was selected out of a total of 2,992 entries. It's a lot of flags to go through. China's national flag was adopted in September 1949 as a result of a flag design competition that received that many entries. The design features one large star with four smaller stars in a semicircle set off towards the fly, the side farthest from the flagpole. The red in the flag symbolizes revolution. The large star symbolizes communism, and the little stars represent Chinese people and their respective social classes. The 5 stars and their relationship represent the unity of Chinese people under the leadership of the Communist Party, plus the number 5 is considered lucky in Chinese culture. The Chinese lunar calendar is still used here and there, and even today we're talking about the Chinese lunar calendar as that's what determines their new year. So China was also the first country to use paper money. The Chinese were the first in the world to use paper money during the Tang Dynasty in the 7th century. Before the use of paper money, Chinese used circular coins with rectangular holes in the middle. This way, several coins could be strung together on a rope. As the country's economy flourished, merchants found that their strings of coins became too heavy to be carried around. So almost your wallet was basically a rope that you put all your coins on. So if you were a rich man, I guess you were kind of weighed down by all the coins that you had on your rope. To solve this, coins were often left with a trustworthy person, and the merchant would give a slip of paper recording how much money he had with that person. Copper shortages also led to the introduction of paper money. Ping pong is not a Chinese invention. Table tennis, or ping pong, is the most popular amateur recreational sport in China. However, the game originated in Britain in the 1880s as an after-dinner parlor game for the upper class. Initially, a row of books was stood up in the center of the table as a net, and 2 or more books served as rackets that were used to continuously hit a golf ball. So ping pong originally was you would set up books on a table to kind of separate the table, and instead of the paddle, you would just use a book. So I guess if whatever your favorite book was, or if you didn't like a book, that's what you would use, and you'd hit around a golf ball. Now ping pong's very different. It uses a light plastic ball, and they have designated paddles. Football or soccer is a Chinese invention. So soccer is actually the most popular sport in the world. And on the other hand, soccer or football is actually what they call soccer in the rest of the world. Football is what the world says, and then football here, American football, is what we call catching an old pigskin. But in the rest of the world, if you were to say I want to play football, they would look at you very weird when you try and catch the ball with your hands. Soccer, the most popular sport in the world, was invented in China over 2,000 years ago. In China, dragons are auspicious creatures. While the dragon is typically seen as an evil creature in Western culture, it holds first place among the 4 greatest creatures in Chinese mythology. The other 4 are the phoenix, tiger, and tortoise. In ancient times, the dragon was a symbol of imperial power. Even today, as a magical creature beloved by people, it represents wealth, wisdom, success, power, and good fortune. And last, we have the crossbow is a Chinese invention, and so is gunpowder. So I know I told you about gunpowder, but the use of a crossbow in European warfare became popular after the Normans defeated the English in the Battle of Hastings, 1066 CE. However, the Chinese invented the crossbow around the 5th century BCE, 15 centuries earlier. China is also credited with inventing the repeating crossbow, capable of firing 10 bolts in 15 seconds around 200 CE. Gunpowder was invented in the 11th century CE, and gunpowder really led to a lot of crazy stuff that we have today. So they kind of kicked it off. And then next up, we're going to have 14 famous Chinese people, and then we're going to do a little bit of seated Tai Chi. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy that. So let me just pull it up and make sure, let me just go through everything I have. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Fortune Tales Festive. Sorry, I'm just doing a little recap, making sure I'm showing you everything that I had laid out. Alright. So, next up, let me pull up what do we have? Let me pull up the famous Chinese people. Now, I'm not going to share all of them, but some of them are worth sharing. So, let's go first to, let me get it up, make sure it's up. I apologize if throughout any of the stream I was just talking without having anything up on screen. But first, we're going to start out with Jet Li. So, an international hero is both a film star and a champion martial artist. Born in Beijing, Jet Li conquered his first national championship at the age of 11, retiring from martial arts at the young age of 17. He went on to start his acting career and starring in the film Shaolin Temple. Also, since he could not speak English, he has switched between English and Chinese films throughout his career. Some of the most notable roles include The Forbidden Kingdom, Romeo Must Die, and Kiss of the Dragon. So this is Jet Li. Dalai Lama is another famous Chinese person. A well-known political leader, has dedicated his life to making Tibet a democratic and independent state away from China. So as many of you know, China, as much as interesting as China is, they actually go through a lot of issues right now, especially with people trying to liberate themselves. And Hong Kong right now, I don't know if you've seen in the media or anything, is constantly going through liberations because China is a communist country. They're not democratic, and their people do not have rights the way we do. So they, as much as I don't want to put down a different government or a different culture, because everyone's different and entitled to be different, China really does not respect human rights, and so their government is way more overbearing, as well as communist. So a well-known political leader, the Dalai Lama, a Democrat, wants to make Tibet independent of China. He was a born Chinese citizen, and he has been exiled along with his followers to India. So China said, "Get out." Gaining power at the young age of 15, he fled the country after the invasion of the People's Republic of China to avoid assassination. So at 15, they tried to kill this guy. Known all over the world, the Dalai Lama has given hundreds of workshops, conferences, and lectures to spread his humanitarian efforts, and has also been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Believed to be the reincarnation of those that came before him, he was selected as the Dalai Lama at 2 years old. He now dedicates his life to fighting for peace, regardless of his exile and bad relations with China. So next up, we have Jack Ma. So I don't know if you ever heard of this guy. This was the first day I heard of him. But this guy is very interesting. One of the world's wealthiest people. And let me actually just pull up how wealthy he is. Let's see how much money he's got. So this man owns about $61 billion with the B. That's a lot of money to have. If you had that, what would you do with it? My first place to go is a trip to China, but $61 billion just owed to this man. One of the world's most wealthiest people, Jack Ma, gained his fortune by founding the well-used Taobao website, essentially the Amazon of China. So Taobao is basically a site online for China that you can order products through, just like Amazon, except he caters to about 1.4 billion people. So he is both a successful entrepreneur and a philanthropist, and is the first mainland Chinese person to appear on the cover of Forbes magazine. So this is that man. He's very famous and super rich. Next up, I'm sure you all know him, Bruce Lee. Well known by an international audience, Bruce Lee is a Hong Kong American actor, martial artist, filmmaker, philosopher, and founder of Jeet Kune Do martial arts. He is not only a 20th century pop icon, but also considered one of the best martial artists to date, appearing in multiple films as a child actor. He grew up in Hong Kong, in the Hong Kong film scene, but later moved to America to pursue a higher education. But his career was cut short after his death in Hong Kong at age 32. Bruce Lee, I'm sure you've all seen him. My favorite thing of Bruce Lee is him fighting Chuck Norris. But another famous person, I don't know if you guys are going to know him too well, but those of you who are basketball fans definitely heard of him. Yao Ming. This Chinese for professional basketball players is one of the most renowned Chinese athletes. He has played for the Shanghai Sharks and the Houston Rockets, and was chosen to start in the NBA All-Star Game 8 times and named All-NBA for 5 times. After gaining great success in the CBA, in his CBA career, which is Chinese Basketball Association, I believe, he secured his release and was drafted to the NBA team, eventually reaching their finals 4 times. So, I know he's a big guy. Let me see how tall he is. Yeah, Yao Ming is huge. So he is 7 foot 6 inches. That's insane. 7 foot 6 inches. Just for reference, I am 5 foot 10 inches, and some of you call me tall. This man is insane. Insanely tall. Let me see if I can share some photos of him with you. There's a reason he's so good at basketball. So one second, let me pull up something. I'm going to share my screen. And sorry if it's trippy again. I know this is weird, but I'm just pulling up some pictures. So here he is, running alongside normal sized people. So those are normal sized girls. And there's this giant of a man. Here he is with Shaquille O'Neal. I don't know if you guys know Shaquille O'Neal, but he's a famous, huge basketball player, and he makes Shaquille look small. But here he is, next to a more normal-sized man. Look at that. That guy isn't short either. It's just that this man is 7'6". That's insane. Yep, and here he is playing golf. Imagine walking out and just above you, you look up to a giant. But good for him. Very famous basketball player, great athlete. And there he stands. So, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I'll go back to sharing the other thing. And thank you for staying tuned. I appreciate all of you sitting out there. 14 famous people in China. And let me just pull that back up. So that was Yao Ming. I don't know if you guys ever seen him play, but definitely a big man. Definitely a big man. So here we have Mao Zedong. This is a very famous Chinese communist leader. Mao Zedong, also known as Chairman Mao, was one of the founding fathers of the People's Republic of China. Mao Zedong was a chairman of the Communist Party of China in 1949 to his death in 1976. There is no doubt that he is one of the most important individuals in history, not just Chinese history, in history. His take on Marxist, Leninist theories, military strategies, and political policies are known as Maoism. During his time, Mao Zedong helped China come into world power, increased life expectancy, improved education and healthcare, and promoted the status of women. To this day, he is one of the most famous men in China. His face adorns everything from posters to cups of coffee to t-shirts. And then here we have a famous Chinese actor, Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, also known... Oh, sorry, wrong person. Fan Bingbing. The television, TV producer, actress, pop singer, is one of China's biggest stars. She has been named one of China's top 100 celebrities by Forbes for nearly every year starting from 2006. She has starred in films such as My Fair Princess, Cell Phone, Lost in Beijing, Buddha Mountain. Her roles have also been international films like South Korea's My Way and U.S. film X-Men. So that's a Marvel movie. X-Men Days of Future Past. So she's a very famous woman. Let me just see if I can find anybody else. Confucius. So I think I'll end off with Confucius. He is a famous philosopher. So like many of you may know, Plato, Aristotle, those are Greek philosophers. Confucius is known as a... Sorry, let me take a sip of water. Confucius is known as a Chinese philosopher, and he's very famous. He's known for creating filial piety, and he's... One second. I think my camera's giving me some issues, so I'm going to just change the battery because it's been on for a while and I haven't changed it. Yep, the camera died. Don't be afraid if I disappeared or you got a black screen. Give me 1 second. I'll fix that. Yeah, camera died. Just one moment. Get myself set back up. Sorry about that. And hey, I'm back. So I'm back in your corner. So we're going to end off with Confucius and then we'll do some Tai Chi. Sitting, obviously. So if you're not in a chair, you're standing, you might want to get a chair after this next little event because we're going to go over Tai Chi, which is traditional Chinese martial arts, as well as a very healthy practice. Some consider it to be almost like a fighting yoga. So Kangzi, also known as Confucius, was a Chinese philosopher, teacher, editor, and politician in the Tang Dynasty. He is most well known for his philosophies on personal and government morality, correctness of social relationships, justice, and sincerities. His principles parallel to common Chinese tradition and beliefs for strong family loyalty, ancestor worship, and respect for elders. Respect for elders. That's who's teaching it. His social philosophy was based on Ren, or loving others, While exercising self-discipline, he's most well known for his principle, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. So that's our golden rule here. Don't do unto others what you don't want done to you, or love others as you would love yourself. So this is a famous man. He looks a little weird. He's not even looking in the right direction, but he comes from a time where you couldn't really take pictures. So there's that. And another famous one is Jackie Chan, but I don't want to keep this going too long. So next up, I'll be presenting to you. Sorry, I didn't share anything there. I'll be presenting to you, let me check it out, a little thing on Tai Chi. So let me just pull all this up, because I got a lot to go through. So I'm not going to share anything right now on the screen. You're just going to have to stare at my beautiful face. I know, what a pain. But I'm just going to go over Tai Chi, and then I'm going to leave you guys with a video on how to perform it in your chair. I know some of you came to morning exercise, but exercise is good for you throughout all the day. So Tai Chi, a gentle way to fight stress. What is Tai Chi? Tai Chi is an ancient Chinese tradition that today is practiced as a graceful form of exercise. It involves a series of movements performed in slow, focused manner and accompanied by deep breathing. Tai Chi, also called Tai Chi Chuan, is a non-competitive, self-paced system of gentle physical exercises and stretching. Each posture flows into the next without pause, ensuring that your body is in constant motion. Tai Chi has many different styles. Each style may subtly emphasize various Tai Chi principles and methods. There are variants within each style, and some styles may focus on health maintenance, while others focus on martial arts aspects of Tai Chi. Tai Chi is different from yoga, other types of meditative movements. So I know, as much as I'd love to put on Kung Fu, I don't think it'd be as appropriate. So Tai Chi is a very great way, and this is very commonly practiced throughout China. So I have a video for you guys. The person I'm going to put on is a little ageist. It's seated Chinese Tai Chi exercise. So we're going to end off with this. So I'm going to play this video, and then afterwards I'll end off the show. It's going to go on for about 20 minutes, so be prepared. Share audio. And so I'm just going to drop you in right after his intro, and he's just going to teach you guys how to do some seated Tai Chi. So at the very least, you can learn a little bit about China. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show so far. I really like hosting it, and I hope you enjoy watching. So let's get this Tai Chi man up on our screen. In 1 second, actually. I don't think I shared it correctly. I just got to make sure that you can hear him as well. There we go. Now it should work. And seated Tai Chi.
To another special episode in the Learn Tai Chi at Home channel. Today we've got a very special video in the Tai Chi Over 60 series, and I'm going to tell you all about that in just a second. But first of all, if this is your first time to this channel, welcome. It's very nice to see you, very nice to have you here. Here we've got all kinds of videos on finding better health, living longer but feeling younger, finding inner peace and tranquility, or even defending yourself against attackers. And I'd love to share all those videos with you, so all you got to do is just hit the subscribe button. You know how to do that. Now today is a special episode in the new series Tai Chi Over 60. And I'm calling it that not because it's limited to anybody of any age, but because I'm over 60 and there's a lot of my contemporaries who are beginning to ask me about seated Tai Chi that you can do if you're not feeling particularly confident in your balance, or if you've got knee injuries. I've got one of my students right now who just had surgery on his ankles, and he's dying to get up and do some Tai Chi, but it really isn't appropriate yet. He's still in rehabilitation. So what do? Do you just stop? Do you just wait? The answer is no. You could do Tai Chi even from a chair. In fact, it's an excellent workout. Now, I'm sitting on a bench here. I'm out here at the lovely park overlooking the wetlands. But you could do this on any kind of a dining room chair, low stools, as long as your feet can touch the floor. I really love doing it on a ball, on a fit ball. You get a lot of stabilization action in that way. But any kind of chair will do. If you have a chair with arms, it could be beneficial because then you can use them to help yourself lower down or stand up. But if you don't have any problem with that, you could just sit on any chair without arms, or make sure that you take your tuchus right to the edge of the chair. All right, having said all that, Kevin, is that a good setup? You ready for this? All right, here we go. Sitting with your feet flat on the floor and your hands just relaxed on your knees. Close your eyes for just a moment and take a deep breath in and deep breath out. Open up your heart, open up your breath, and open up and empty out your mind, because you won't need any thoughts. You won't need to focus or concentrate. All you need to do is just keep breathing, keep moving, and keep smiling. And one more time, open up your eyes, deep breath in, big sigh out. Now let your hands gently slip off of your knees to the sides. And then, like wings of a bird, let them open out to the side. Folding on in, you gather all the energy from all around you. Tuck it down through your body, and imagine it going through the feet into the earth below. The hands slide past your thighs, and lift up again, floating in, sinking the chi. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Beautiful. And now in front, my hands raise up, fingertips pointing right to you, right towards the camera there, right towards what you're watching. And then just gently ease on down, palms all the way to your thighs. But I'm not going to let them rest. I'm just going to let them float back up again. Inhaling, floating up. Exhaling, drifting down. Call this the commencement, or opening the door. I like opening the door. It's a more imaginative name. Beautiful. One more time. And as my hands float up, I can feel the energy rising up to the top of my head, out towards the sky, and my feet get firmly planted into the earth below. Beautiful. Now this time, as the arms float out, round them out in front of you like you're give it a big hug right there. Inhale and open. And with this hand on top, a big round moon appears right in front of your chest. Nice. Inhale and open. This movement in Chinese is called Bao Ye, which literally means to hold or embrace the moon. Inhaling, exhaling, holding that moon right in towards the heart, and then breathing it in and breathing it out again. One more time. Inhale and open. Exhale and gather. And then let the fingertips drift back together. Hands flatten. Float on down. And back to the beginning with sinking the chi. The hands slide past your thighs, out to the sides, into the center with a big hug, and down into the earth. Beautiful. Once again, the hands stretch out, rising up in front of you. Round out to hold the big ball, and then flip the hands over, palm over palm. This hand right here drops and tosses away out to the side. And then gathering the palm back in, it's going to push forward, palm over palm. Nice. And then this hand drops and tosses away. I follow it with my eyes and push. Breathe in, slightly leaning if you want to, I don't care. It might be nice. Getting a sense of the reach and extension and expansion out into the earth, into the world, and push. Beautiful. And from right here, once again, hug the big tree or the big family. Inhale and open. Hands float down and sink the chi. Reaching out again in front. Round out the arms and flip the hands over. One hand floats away and the other hand comes with it. Right? Now from here, this hand is just going to press downward and float back up. Press downward and float back up. This hand now gathering in, reaching out into the sky. And if I can get both of them to work together, breathing in, breathing out. Now stay with me because on the next move we're going to walk and chew gum at the same time. Folding in, this hand right here, circling around, and this one pushing away. And then I'm going to sweep them both back over to the side again. Pushing down and folding in, sweeping over my lap and pushing. You might recognize this movement if you've watched some of the other videos, called brushing the knee and pushing. Beautiful. And floating back up to the center, big hug. Inhale and open, sweeping back together, flipping the hands over. This hand falls and this one comes with it. Pressing down 2 times. And it's not really a muscular action as much as it is a releasing, right? It's not so much of a flexing the arm in as a releasing of the elbow to allow it to just drop and fall down. Now the two together. You ready for this? Here we go. As they fold in together, this hand right here sweeps around my lap and the other hand pushes. Then I sweep them both back over to the side. Sweep around and push. One more time, just for good luck. Breathe in. Fold in, breathe out. Lovely. And then hug the big family right here in front again. Inhale and open. Hands flatten and float down and back to the beginning, sinking the chi. Big sigh. Nice. Now once again, the hands float out in front, reaching out. Big hug right here. Inhale and open, expanding the chest. And this hand falls. Scoops across my lap. Carry it over to the other side. Then the two hands change places. Like drifting clouds. I know I've got only overcast skies where I am right now, but still somewhere up there the clouds are moving. They're drifting. They're changing shape. And then drifting across the sky, blown on by a gentle breeze. And we call this the cloud hands movement. Across. Breathe in to change shape. Breathe out. You can even slightly lean into it, right? Taking it across. One of the most important characteristics of Tai Chi is just the fact that it doesn't stop. It just keeps on moving continuously like waves on the ocean or clouds in the sky. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then with a big hug right here, bring it all back to center. Inhale and open. All the way down. And back to the beginning, sinking the chi. Now lean over slightly just on one cheek here, just enough so that you can get a little bit of movement in one foot here. In fact, I might find it a little bit easier if I move my feet closer together so that I can get one foot slightly off the ground and back down again. Then shift over, other cheek gets a little bit of more pressure, just lifting one foot off the ground. Good. As one foot comes off the ground, that same side hand lifts up as well. The rooster. Now, by the way, how high do you need to get the foot? I don't know. I don't care. Right? I'm even going to lean slightly, just ever so slightly forward over the top of that rising foot. We call this the golden rooster. Stands on one leg. Breathe in to rise. Breathe out to descend. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And the hands float up in front with a big hug. Inhale and open. And sink the chi. Now cross both hands at the wrists and lift them up in front of your chest. Again, leaning over to one side, I get that one foot up and then kick out, opening up the hands as I do so. Fold that back in and cross the hands again. Lift up that knee and kick out, opening up the hands. Cross. Breathe in, breathe out. Cross. Breathe in, breathe out. And by the way, you don't have to lift that foot up. I'm just going to place my heel down there on the floor. Just about bending and straightening the knee. Beautiful. One more time. On each side would be nice. Good, and turn these crossed hands back into a big hug right here. Inhale and open. You know what's coming next. Sinking the chi. Hands drift out, float up in front. Big hug, inhale and open. And with this hand on top, catch that moon one more time, would you please? And then the bottom hand takes that moon and tosses it off into the distance. Rolling the arms back around again to catch the moon. Breathe in. Big sigh out. One more time. Now stay right there. I'm just going to flip this hand over and scoop under here. And this movement is called taming or dividing, styling, smoothing out wild haircuts. Taming the wild mane of the horse is what it's called. So you can imagine stroking up the neck of the horse with one hand and using your fingers to comb through the mane of the horse with the other hand. One more time. Nice. And then reaching up to make a big hug, bring that right back to center. Inhale and open. And the fingertips come floating back together. Hands flatten all the way down. And one last time, sinking the chi. For just a moment, close your eyes and let yourself experience the flow of energy all the way through your body, awakened and circulated by the movements you've just done. A mental pat on the back and a virtual hug from me. Beautiful. And already, if you haven't done so, open your eyes. Thank you. Well, there you have it. There's a very quick introduction to seated Tai Chi, and I hope that you enjoyed that video. If you did, and
Alright, so thanks for everybody for tuning in. For those of you who are still watching, I appreciate you staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed doing Tai Chi. It was very informative and actually very good for you. So, without further ado, I'm going to end the show. Please remember to keep your mask on, over your nose, under your chin. I'm going to be having bingo in the bingo room in about 10 minutes. If anybody would want to join me and hang out and maybe win some money or just play bingo. I like playing bingo. I'd love to see all of you there. Little hand sanitizer always goes a long way. And thank you for tuning in. So I enjoy hosting these shows. If you have any constructive criticism, feedback, whatever you'd like, just let me know. If you don't want to see the show, let me know that too. We don't have to put it on. It's just something that's easy to do socially distanced. But I'm glad to see all of you hustling and bustling out of your rooms. I feel like ever since we left quarantine, the Bristol has definitely been a more lively place, and I'm happy to see it that way. So to everyone who tuned in, take care. I love you all, and we'll be seeing you next week. What next week will be, I'm not too sure. I think we might be doing I Love Lucy, which I'm excited about. Love that show. And instead of music in between, we'll actually just be throwing up our favorite clips. Not 100% sure on that, though. Don't quote me there. But for those of you who are a fan of the show, let me know what you think. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a good day. And I'm about to end the stream. If something weird comes up next after that, I apologize. I have no control over what plays when I end my stream.